Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. These are the post-fight reviews from a card in Germany featuring rising prospects Oleksandr Zakhozhyi and Vladislav Sirenko, the Ukrainian heavyweights who are starting to make some noise in the heavyweight division. So this card, Sirenko was facing Iva Di Berardino and Zakhozhyi was facing the longtime heavyweight contender and now gatekeeper Kevin Kingpin Johnson. Seems to be a rite of passage to face Johnson on the way up now. But I'll start with Sirenko versus Di Berardino, which was for the vacant Eurasian Boxing Parliament heavyweight title. That's a bit of a mouthful. So this one from the outset looked like it was going to end early. Di Berardino coming forward, he looked pretty basic and rudimentary, just really swinging his hands and not a lot of sort of technique to what he was looking to do. And he actually was trying to rough up Sirenko early on and even tried to headbutt him, which the referee did warn Berardino for. Lots of tying up early on, but in between times, Sirenko landing some nice sort of eye-catching work. There was a very nice uppercut. There was a couple of trademark left hooks mid-round, but it was all over towards the back end of the first round. Sirenko lands a very vicious right hand, sort of on the temple region, that backs up Di Berardino, and with a few, swishing left hooks and another brutal right hand, Di Berardino sinks to the canvas and folds out in a sort of very impressive fashion. It looked very devastating on live, and especially on the replay, the way that he sort of sunk and then sort of just really sprawled out face first on the canvas. So the referee, he waves it off and it was all over. First round knockout for Vladislav Sirenko. Very impressive performance, and I'll get to the what next for Sirenko and Zakhozhyi in a moment, but we'll cover Oleksandr Zakhozhyi's fight first. 8-rounder against Kevin Kingpin Johnson. Really didn't have too much trouble in here. His jab was working well, his engine, good output, and he buzzed Kevin Johnson in a pretty good fourth round. Momentarily had Johnson in trouble, but as Johnson often does, shelled up, sort of protected himself. He was able to see out the fight. But this was probably a more aggressive version of Kevin Johnson that I've seen in some time against some of the more sort of blue chip prospects that he has been facing. He has really sort of been uber negative and not really doing too much, but he was looking for the counter against Zakhozhyi. He was working the jab, looking to unfurl that right hand when he could, and it actually was a better fight to watch, compared to some of the other ones where it's really been quite sort of hard going. But Zakhozhyi, the bigger man, 6'9", although he does seem to fight a little bit smaller than that, sort of crouches up a little bit. He didn't have too many issues, went the rounds, and it was a decent performance. He gets the decision win over 8 rounds. I thought it was a decent effort. Zakhozhyi, he's one to watch. He looks like he is sort of developing and coming along. And Sirenko, though, he really is starting to rack up some eye-catching performances. And keep it in context, though, Iva Di Berardino, not exactly the best opponent, but he did, show some ambition, but Sirenko was able to blast him out pretty early on. And next, I would like to see these guys, take another step up. I think Kevin Johnson was perfectly fine for this point in Zakhozhyi's career, but it would be good to see him against someone who can maybe do a little bit more on the offensive end than Kevin Johnson. And Sirenko, well, it's time for him, I believe, to have a step up because he's been through a number of these type opponents and he really does need some better competition now. Hopefully we see both out by the end of 2019, but 2020 really needs to be a bit of a step up year for Vladislav Sirenko. He's got the talent, he's got the power in both hands. We saw that right hand against Di Berardino really clocked him, and he didn't really know where he was after taking a couple of those shots. So be good to see Sirenko in some better fights in 2020. I wouldn't mind seeing him matched a little bit tougher against the likes of an Ali Aaron Demirasian, and if he is going to be competing in Europe, surely that fight could be made. There's a number of guys that they should be looking to set them up with. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Zakhozhyi or Sirenko against the likes of a Marius Wok, who is clearly trading on his name now, being a former title challenger, a former top contender, but now, these days, is pretty faded and jaded. These guys need rounds, but they also need to step up the level of opposition. What did you make of those fights if you caught them? And if you didn't, there is highlights over at my backup channel, 99 Boxing. Links to that are in the description box. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.